Hey, everybody fill out their hearing appearance slips if they want to talk on a specific agenda item or in public comment before we get started here. If you're an applicant, you do not have to fill one out. So. Okay, I call this Sawyer County Zoning Committee meeting to order. Roll call, Kathy?
Ron Buckholz,
Here.
Tweet Schuman,
Here.
Kay Wilson, Dale Magnusson, absent. Marshall Savitsky, absent.
Marshall, excuse.
Steve Carriennen.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay, before we do the Pledge of Allegiance, you know, I request that everybody turn their cell phones to silence along with the other electric devices out of respect for the committee and the public. Please note that signs prohibiting members from the public approaching the committee table. If you have information to share with the committee, please fill out an appearance slip and put information in the information table. They will be picked up and presented to the chairman. You may also email committee members additional information. Thank you. All right, now we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, statement of committee and hearing procedure. The full statement of the committee and hearing procedure document, including directions for individuals wishing to speak at the public hearing to be conducted at this zoning committee meeting, are available on the information table in the back of the room next to the committee meeting. Available agenda for today, I'm getting all tongue tied here. Information tables on the back next. Anyway, the statement of the committee hearing procedures documents is hereby incorporated into the record of the committee meeting. Any public hearing conducted on today's committee meeting has been published as a Class 2 notice in accordance with Chapter 985 of Wisconsin statutes in the Sawyer County Record and the Sawyer County Gazette, and published on July 30th and August 6th of 2025. All right, the next one, approval of the July 18th minutes. I need a motion to approve that, please.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Kirainen and a second by Ms. Wilson to approve the July 18th meeting minutes. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. All right, next, public comment. What's this one?
Kim Foster.
Oh, she just wants public comment. Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
General public.
State your name and address for the record, ma'am.
Kim Foster, 1451 Ashland Avenue in St. Paul. We own the property at, I'm nervous, I've forgotten my address on the lake, 13019 West Indian Lake Road. And my husband and I came up here yesterday to speak against the rezoning request by the DeWitts, which is on your agenda 3E and F. And when we got here, we were glad to see that it was withdrawn. But we're here, and we made an appearance at the town planning meeting and at the town board meeting. And at both of those meetings, it was unanimously denied, his request for rezoning. And we and other owners along Indian Lake have submitted writings supporting our argument against the rezone. So I understand it's been withdrawn, but I just wanted to, you can hear I'm nervous. I just wanted to tell you that we're here and we're against the rezoning, and we think we've set out some excellent reasons why it should be denied. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Did a good job. Welcome. All right, next, Ginny.
Good morning.
Morning.
My comments today are not regarding a concern about the rezone request for Duffy Development, but it does have something to do with that particular item.
Can you give us your name and address for?
Yeah, sure. Ginny Chabak, 10363 N McLean Road.
Thank you.
First things first, I have a supportive, wonderful working relationship with Sawyer County Zoning as the chairman of the Town of Round Lake Plan Commission. I appreciate everything that they do, and I realize that they're trying to keep the system moving with limited resources. Where I have a concern is that we had an issue with the creation of a non-conforming parcel rather than doing what should have been done in the first place, which was a rezone. This is a zone agriculture lot that is less than 5 acres, and the owners came in, wanted a land use permit, and it went through as a special use rather than as a rezone, which it should have been in the first place. So that's really my concern. I want to make sure that we're doing things right in the town of Round Lake. We want to make sure that we're doing all of our zoning correctly. We're going to take out a report, look and see what else we've got out there like this, because there's probably quite a few of them. And maybe we can work out something with the zoning committee and the zoning administration to fix these things in order to make them conforming if that's an opportunity. And that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next, Linda?
Jenny, I'm going to rebut what you said, if you want to stay for a minute. Linda Zolmer, Edgewater property owner. And my public comment that's general, not specific to any agenda item, has to do with zoning processes. And every person from the applicant to the neighbors, to the town, whether it's a plan commission and a town board, to the zoning committee, to the full county board, everybody has a role in a lot of these zoning processes, and including creating zoning ordinances and amending them. And I think the reason that there are so many steps is not just to check the box, but it's to ensure that you're looking at setting ordinances and then enforcing and applying them to minimize conflicts and to maybe maximize efficiency of public services. So in the case of the example that Ginny just brought up, my question is, how did that parcel ever get created to begin with? And I disagree that it should be rezoned, and you'll hear that testimony. But the thing of it is as a zoning committee or anyone in this process, to weigh their decision-making properly, you have to know how much they know and the process they went through. So with special uses, to keep that as agriculture, you are saying, you're recognizing that's a non-conforming parcel. It's substandard size, but you don't want to create a user conflict by rezoning it to residential from ag. So when I talk about processes, which I have for 20 years now, I wish at some point maybe there could be a visual chart showing everybody's role, and that when it comes to this zoning committee or the county board, you are considering those prior decisions, but you're also applying your own knowledge. And sometimes those decisions made before you are well-reasoned, and sometimes they may not. And that's where in your position as a zoning committee or the county board as a whole, they have a right to make an informed decision independent of the decisions before them. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. All right, anyone else want to speak on public comment? Nobody online.
Anyone online wishing to make public comment? I should just ask, because I did see him pop in, Marshall Savitsky, are you acting as a zoning committee member at this point?
I can be, or an alternate, whatever.
Okay. Yeah, because Mr. Magnuson is not here. So if you are on, we will note that. If you need to leave, please let us know as well.
Okay, I will.
Thank you.
Thank you, Marshall.
Moving on for rezone applications, this is a public hearing in the town of Round Lake, rezone number 25-006, owner Duffy Development LLC. It's part of the Southwest one quarter, tax ID 25020. It is 0.998 total acres, zoned to agricultural 1. Purpose of the request is to rezone the agricultural 1 zone district to RR1 zone district in order to build a residential structure. As part of my staff report, again, the request is to rezone from agricultural 1 to residential recreational 1, again, to build a residential structure. The applicant had initially started the request with a special use permit from the town of Round Lake, which would allow the applicant to build a residential house within the agricultural zone district. The town was reluctant to approve the special use permit in this situation, in that the current acreage of the property is substandard in size per the agricultural 1 zone district. The minimum amount in A1 zone district land in Sawyer County is 5 acres. It is unknown as to the how or why or when this parcel was created to be substandard in size, but it appears to be an older remnant parcel that would still have the A1 zoning jurisdiction. This is why the rezone is now being requested. Ultimately, the town did approve a special use permit, but they conditioned that approval upon the applicant moving forward with the rezone request. This property is very near other agricultural uses, but it is currently in completely wooded and vacant lot. This lot is also immediately adjacent to other residential houses. The town of Round Lake, as part of their comprehensive plan, shows this future land use area as agricultural, but also has other residential expansion areas shown in this same location. It is also important to mention that the town of Round Lake is the one that conditioned approval of the special use permit that the applicant proceed with the rezone process. The town's recommendation on the proposed rezone should be highly considered for approval or denial consideration. As by action of the town board, motion was approved. James Strandland, Chair, Kay Wilson, Supervisor, Scott Bebrek, Supervisor, Dan Palmer, Supervisor, Darren Jensen, Supervisor. Per their comments, the town of Round Lake recommends approval of the proposed rezone application based on the following applicable findings of facts: that it encourages planned and orderly land use development. It provides healthy surrounding use for family life. As signed, Frank Lucian, clerk for the town of Round Lake. There were 6 additional notification letters sent out to adjacent property owners. 0 additional comments were received. That is all.
Okay. I wish to recuse myself from this for reasons I've shared with Jay.
Yes, okay, yeah, Mr. Carrion, you can recuse yourself of this. We have enough to do this. So, all right. I need a motion to go into public hearing on rezone number 25-006, please.
Chairman, I'll make a motion to go into public hearing in
Okay,
that specific rezone.
I'll second that.
we have a motion by Mr. Schuman and a second by Ms. Wilson to go into public hearing on rezone number 25-006. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. We are now in public hearing. Is applicant here?
Do not see them.
No.
Do not see them.
Whoa. Okay. Yeah, yes.
No, and they've been given notification that they should be in attendance to this meeting, but I guess I can certainly help answer any other questions that there may be, but we do not have the applicant present. You may also want to ask for other people wishing to speak in favor or opposition.
Great. So, first of all, I'll go with, you guys have any questions you want to ask? Really? No? All right. Go
Chairman,
ahead.
as added, so the town around Lake Board approved it unanimously then?
Yes.
Mr. Savitsky, you have any questions?
No.
Okay, all right. All right, does anyone out there want to speak in favor of this rezone? Anyone out there want to speak in opposition of this rezone? Ms. Zimmer?
Linda Zilmer, resident of the resident of the village of Birchwood, Edgewater property owner. And I understand that this parcel was maybe just purchased this spring. And there is no home on there. And thank you, if you could leave that picture up. It shows that the parcel is wooded, but it does show agricultural use in the immediate area. And although that's wooded now, I mean, I suppose there is a potential for clearing it for ag use, but it is in the vicinity of active ag use. I don't know all the discussions about how this happened to come forward, but if the zoning department, again, the zoning department, if they said that because this is ag zoned, it required a special use permit, I'm sure, and maybe Jay can explain, I shouldn't put words in his mouth, but it's a non-conforming parcel. It pre-exists. It should just get a special use permit. And then at the town board or town plan commission and town board level, then they have to decide, okay, first of all, do we want a house in this location? And also, what about the surrounding land uses, which are primarily agriculture? And what decision do we make in terms of density and compatible uses to make a decision? And I think this is a case where a town plan commission and town board erred, maybe for lack of better information, because if I respect that the county respected the town wanting to have a rezone, but I think it's the wrong decision. I think a special use should either be approved or denied just on whether they want a house there or not. That's all that's required. Applicants should not have to go through an additional hurdle of a rezone because the parcel size is non-conforming. If this rezone goes through, you're going to have a residential parcel in the middle of agriculture, which in the future can set up a conflict for those agricultural uses. I think by denying the rezone and then granting the applicant the special use permit, things are then compatible, they're not conflicting, and the applicant would be allowed to build a house. I think maybe the other thing too is of all these special uses that get rubber stamped, this is one that could have gotten denied. That you want to keep parcel size larger and they could either acquire additional land or maybe those surrounding landowners could have purchased that parcel. But again, this is not a long vested interest in real estate. The parcel was purchased recently, and I hope the town of Round Lake will revisit this and say, we do not want to put conflicting land uses in the middle of agriculture. Thank you.
Thank you. Right, anyone else want to speak in opposition of this rezone? None? Okay, I need a motion to go on a public hearing on rezone number 25-006, please.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
We have a motion by Ms. Wilson and a second by Mr. Schuman to come out of public hearing on rezone number 25-006. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries. We are now out of public hearing.
This is the discussion action for rezone number 25-006. Duffy Development LLC. Legal description is previously read into record. This request is to rezone 0.998 acres of agricultural 1 to residential recreational 1. This process did start with submittal of a special use permit to the town of Round Lake. Previously had gone to the town plan commission and then to the town board. And from my recollection, and we do have Supervisor Wilson that can potentially speak more to this, but the town was not willing to initially grant a special use permit here, in that they did not want to see the potential of mixing land uses within a 1 acre zoned agricultural lot, in that someone could potentially still build a house on the 1 acre and then potentially still load it with other agricultural uses such as, beef cattle or, a chicken farm or a hog farm, anything that is as a approved and permitted agricultural use. The other thing to mention in this area, and I did start to go through the background research of how or why this parcel got created. It looks like it was somewhere back in the 2000 area, 25 plus years ago now, where there was a larger remnant parcel and things got split off and was probably missed by zoning staff at that time. as to why or how these lots were allowed to be created. I can't speak to that. I wasn't here at that time. But if you look at the surrounding map that we have on the board right now, that parcel immediately to the east is zoned agricultural and is substandard in size with a house on it. You look 2 lots to the east, that is another agricultural lot that has a residential house on it, not actively engaged in ag use, and is substandard in size. You look immediately to the south, there is another agricultural 2 zoned lot that just has a residential structure on it with no ag use and is substandard in size. The most appropriate zone district, in my opinion, for this area and for that use would be residential recreational 1. There is additional residential recreational 1 land to the north. This would not be viewed as spot zoning. Yes, there are other ag fields in the immediate vicinity, as well as cattle operation in the immediate vicinity. But the aspects of, 20, 30, 50 years down the road, there are already residential houses right in this immediate vicinity. You would not expect to see additional agricultural. So I do feel that the appropriate zone district would be RR1. And I actually appreciate the town's effort in not granting a special use permit for this and really kind of getting this cleaned up to that appropriate zone district use.
And Rebecca has looked at this, or Corp Council, and fine with it, I guess.
I'm not gonna put words in her mouth. Go ahead, Rebecca.
Well, I just want to make sure that we're doing the right thing here. I mean, we were told it's non-conforming, so to me, that's an alarm, but go ahead, Rebecca, tell us a little bit about this.
Yeah, based on the information that I've reviewed, the request is an appropriate one. I do not think that this would be considered spot zoning based on the legal requirements that are in place for spot zoning. We look at consistency of surrounding areas, as Jay talked about. We've got other residential uses on these other substandard parcels. Usually that substandard component is not part of a spot zoning analysis, but I think it's appropriate here. And really, this is a situation where you as the zoning committee and the process as a whole gets to utilize your discretion. And there can be differences of opinion in how to go about how these decisions are reached. And simply because there's differing opinions doesn't mean that one is right and one is wrong. And therefore, the decision that has been reached, and it sounds like very deliberately by the town, and kudos to the town for going through those steps. They reached a decision and worked together with Jay, and I think that's a very appropriate process. And so, therefore, the goal of cleaning up, these issues that are longstanding, as Jay mentioned, and looking at the area as a whole and coming to the determination that the RR1 is the most appropriate zoning district for the uses that actually exist is certainly a reasonable decision that this committee could move forward with.
Okay. All right. All right, committee, turn it over to you to decide how you want to go with this. I mean, the town approved it. But when we do the finding of facts, that's, we want to put theirs in there too, above and beyond ours. Turn it over to you. What do you want to do with them?
I'd like to make a motion to approve rezone 25-006 for Duffy Development LLC with findings of facts 2, 3, and 13.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion by Ms. Wilson, a second by Mr. Schuman to approve rezone number 25-006. Any more discussion?
Jay, does that involve in the town around Lake boards? Anything they put on that rezone?
Well, they just submitted what they felt was their findings of facts.
Okay.
So again, there wouldn't be any conditions that are placed
Okay.
on a rezone. So, it's just their reason as to why they motioned to approve the request. So.
Okay. Any more discussion? Not? Roll call, Kathy, please.
Ron Buckholz.
Yes.
Kay Wilson.
Yes.
Tweed Schuman.
Yes.
Marshall Savitsky.
Marshall? We must have lost him.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
So 3-0.
All right, that motion's been approved and carried, so. All right, Mr. Steve, you can come back in. Maybe he went home too. There he is.
Moving on, this is a public hearing in the town of Draper, rezone number 25-007. Matthew Stefanski, part of the southeast one quarter, the southwest one quarter, tax ID 5825. It is 39.86 total acres, zoned forestry 1. Purpose of the request is to rezone the entire 39.86 total acres from forestry 1 to agricultural 2. This would be then to have up to 4 beef cattle and horses and less than 15,000 pounds of animals as to establish a type of hobby farm operation. Again, as part of my staff report, again, the purpose of the request is to rezone the 39.86 total acres from forestry 1 to agricultural 2. With the additional maps included within the packet here, the applicant is requesting to rezone this. In conversations with them, they'd like to have a hobby farm type of operation. They currently have several horses that they would like to keep at the property, including the ability to raise several beef cattle. The agricultural 2 zone district would allow for this type of use. As part of the rezone request, the applicants have also been issued an additional land use permit for an accessory structure in hopes that if the rezone is approved, they would then be constructing an additional barn on the property. Subject rezone request is located off the Highway 70, just less than 2 miles east of Loretta Draper. The surrounding land use is predominantly forestry with mixed rural residential. There's a large amount of existing agricultural 2 zone property, approximately a half mile to the west of this property, as to not be viewed as spot zoning. The town of Draper comprehensive plan, future land use map shows this area as forestry. However, the town's recommendation on the proposed rezone should be highly considered for the approval or denial consideration. Again, as part of this request, the shoreline wetland overlay district is not subject to change. As part of the motion by the town board, motion was approved. Jason Gerwin, chair, Jeff Heath, supervisor, Bradley Moberg, supervisor. Property was formerly a farm and is surrounded by county land. The board sees no reason to grant the rezone request to agricultural 2, signed Kathy Stefanski, town clerk. There were 5 additional notification letters sent out to adjacent property owners within 300 feet. No additional comments were returned. That is all.
Yeah.
What did the town say?
That's what.
That they denied.
Yeah.
Motion was approved. Property was formerly a farm and is surrounded by county land. The board sees no reason not to rezone to A2. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay.
So they actually said the board sees no reason to rezone to A2, but they unanimously approved. So I do believe they also
Okay.
would have maybe missed a word there. That the board sees does not see any reason to rezone to A2.
Everybody called that. So, all right, I need a motion to go into public hearing on rezone number 25-007, please.
Chairman, I'll make a motion to go in public hearing on
I'll
rezone
second.
Okay, we have a motion.
25-007.
We have a motion by Mr. Schuman and a second by Mr. Kerry Heinen to go into rezone on, public hearing on rezone number 25-007. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries. We are now in public hearing. Is the applicants here?
Sam.
Okay,
Morning. Thank you for hearing me. That's not, that picture that you see there is dated. So there's a lot more cleared, and that land use permit, we did erect that building already.
Can you state your name, please?
My name is Matthew Stefanski. Want the address too?
yes.
2380 West State Highway 70, Winter, Wisconsin, 54896.
Thank you.
So that's an old picture, but there's a lot that's changed. We had a conditional use permit because it was forestry one, and we erected a 110 by 40 barn dominium in 23. And then we just did the 40 by 60 with our land use permit. So that is complete too. We want to turn this into a hobby farm. We do have horses. We want to get a few head of cattle. And it used to be a farm when we were doing some clearing. You can see that there was remnants of a farm there, horseshoes, septic tanks, you name it. So we found a lot of stuff that was farm, was cleared. We had to go back through and get rid of some of the brush to open back up those pastures, which we did. We're sited by 3 sides of Sawyer County. And then to the south of us on the other side of Highway 70 is Flambeau Forest. And then we do, my mom and I have part interest in so there's 40 acres of Sawyer. And then there's another 80 acres. That's my mom and my property. We've had that for 35 years. So we're hoping that you guys consider, what we're trying to do, trying to better the area, but we're also going to retire here, so.
Okay. Anyone have any questions they want to ask the applicant? Marshall, are you back on there?
Yeah, I'm back on now. I couldn't respond earlier for whatever reason, but I have no questions.
Okay, all right. All right, thank you.
Okay.
Does anyone out there want to speak in favor of this CUP or rezone? Anyone want to speak in opposition of this rezone? Okay, if not, I need a motion to come out of public hearing on rezone number 25-007.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to come out of public hearing.
We have a motion by Mr. Schuman. Do I have a second?
I'll make that second.
And we have a second by Mr. Kiernan to come out of public hearing on rezone number 25-007. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries. We are now out of public hearing.
This is the discussion action, the town of Draper rezone 25-007, owner Matthew Stefanski. Legal description is previously read into record. Request is to rezone 39.86 total acres from forestry 1 to agricultural 2.
Okay. Committee? What's the preference?
All right, Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we approve rezone number 25-007 with findings of facts. I'm just going through them. Gotcha. We should read them, Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, promote the public health, safety, convenience, and general welfare. Encourage planned and orderly land use development. Protect property values and the property tax base. Permit the careful planning and efficient maintenance. We won't use 4, Jay. Ensure adequate utility, health, educational, and recreational facilities. Recognize the needs of agriculture, forestry, industry, and business and future growth. Encourages uses of land and other natural resources which are in accordance with their character and adaptability. Provide adequate light and air, including access to sunlight for solar collections and wind energy systems. Encourage the protection of groundwater resources. Preserve wetlands, conserve soil, water, and forest. Protect the beauty and amenities of landscape and man-made developments. Provide healthy surroundings for family life. And that's it.
All right.
That's my findings of fact.
So we have a motion, a second on the floor to approve the rezone. Any more discussion? Not, roll call, Kathy, please.
Kay Wilson,
Yes.
Marshall Savitsky,
Yes.
Ron Buckholz.
Yes.
Steve Carriennen,
Yes.
Tweed Schuman,
Yes.
all in favor. Thank you.
Thanks. Moving on, this is a public hearing in the town of Hayward, rezone 25-008, owner Troy and Vicky DeWitt. Before I get into and read the legal description, I will let the zoning committee know that the owner has requested a withdrawal of the rezone application. It would be the zoning administrator's recommendation that you accept the withdrawal and then do not move into a public hearing.
Okay. All right,
You can still hold a public hearing if you so wish, but with a owner requested withdrawal, we generally have not gone into.
I agree. I don't know why we would have to go through all that public hearing, stuff. When they
Sure.
bring it back, go ahead.
Chairman, I'll make a motion then
Okay.
that we accept the withdrawal from the applicant on rezone number 25-008.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Schuman,
I'll second that.
a second by Mr. Kiernan to accept the withdrawal from rezone number 25-008. All in favor, say aye.
I have a question.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry, Kate, I forgot.
So with the withdrawal, does that mean that they can't reapply for a period of time, like a year, or
So.
what does that mean?
Looking at, from what I remember from the bylaws, and I'd have to pull them up, but the public hearing would have to be conducted in order for the 1-year refiling rule to take place. So without going into a public hearing, the applicant could reapply for a similar or same rezone within the 1 year. You could do it sooner. However, they would still have to pay additional application fees and they would be starting the process entirely over. The town plan commission and the town board had unanimously denied the rezone application. So this owner or this applicant, you would suspect he would have to come up with some other type of different plan in order for anything to move forward. You know, because if he, turned around and submitted a rezone application, tomorrow, it still wouldn't be heard for 2 months from now. But if it's the same request, why would the board change their mind? So I would suspect that the Wits will go back to the drawing board and potentially look at other ideas, maybe slightly less of a rezone request, maybe a kind of a split rezone, or maybe they're in the anticipation that it's not the appropriate zone district change in that area, and we never see or hear from them again. Unknown at this point.
Okay. Okay, any more discussion? All right, not roll call, Kathy, please.
Kay Wilson.
Yeah, go ahead.
No.
Marshall Savitsky.
No.
Tweed Schuman.
Could you clarify the motion again then?
The motion's.
I made the
to
motion
accept the
to
withdrawal.
accept the withdrawal.
Yeah,
Well, my vote is yes.
thank you. Steve Carriennen.
Yes.
Ron Buckholz.
Yes.
Thank you. 3-2 to accept.
Okay,
Moving on, we are into conditional use permits. This is a public hearing in the town of Edgewater, conditional use permit number 25-044. Michael and Carrie Olson, part of the Southeast One Quarter, the Southeast One Quarter, tax ID 8123. It is 3.17 total acres zoned residential recreational 1. Permit is desired for the construction of a 12-foot by 24-foot by 16-foot high accessory structure on vacant land. This is per the Sawyer County Code of Ordinances Appendix D, Section 4.26, Parent 1, with automatic conditions that a land use permit for a dwelling be taken out within a 3-year time frame. There has already been a soil test, driveway, and fire number applied for. As part of my staff report, again, this is per Sawyer County Code of Ordinances Appendix D 4.26 Parent 1, which comes with those automatic conditions that a land use permit would need to be taken out for the accessory structure within a 1-year time frame, and that the land use permit is required and be taken out for the principal structure within a 3-year time frame, and that primary dwelling or that principal structure is built within that land use permit time frame. Failure to apply will result in citations with potential orders for removal of the accessory structure. In conversations with the applicant, they actually have sold a property located in Birchwood. And as part of that sale of land, they already have this existing garage shed type building. So they're actually just relocating that building from Birchwood to this property. The property itself has some topography challenges to it. It's a fairly steep lot. It is not on water necessarily. And the applicant is basically wanting this building out there as to, basically start kind of working on some of the topography with the skid steer, making the driveway approach and kind of leveling off and clearing a spot for the future house development. The applicant, and I'll just speak for him. He's done some very good due diligence on, showing how he's going to manipulate this landscape for water flow in the future. And I actually really commend that. He has some forward thinking as to how he wants to kind of create some checks, and setting that natural course of water to other collection areas. So I do see that it's going to take some time to do that. And that again is why this request is here, is he wanting to, keep his equipment in a, building that's, going to be weatherproofed, in which he then can, reshape that landscape a little bit, and then eventually build that house within that 3-year timeframe. Again, the request is allowing for up to a 288 square foot shed on vacant land. And keeping in mind the other conditions as listed in the staff report, which were also stated as part of this record, as number 1, number 2, but also to add into number 3 that the proposed accessory structure meet all other Sawyer County and zoning conservation requirements and all other all other town, county, state, and federal laws, and that the size of the accessory structure not to exceed 12 foot by 24 foot by 16 feet in height. By action of the town board, motion was approved. Pete Baraboo, chairman, Jamie Scar, supervisor, Scott Spaeth, supervisor. Motion by Pete to approve the conditional use permit for Michael Olson as the 12 foot by 24 foot by 16 foot high accessory building on vacant land at the corner of Old Hayes and East Shore Drive. Second by Scott, motion carried 3-0, signed Natalie Clements, town clerk. There were 11 additional notification letters sent out to adjacent property owners. No additional comments were received. That is all.
Okay, thank you, Jay. All right, need a motion to go into a public hearing on CUP number 25-004, please.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion by Mr. Karianen
Second, Chairman.
and a second by Mr. Schuman to go into public hearing on CUP number 25-004. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. We're now in public hearing and the applicant's here. Doesn't look like it.
He is online.
He's online? Okay.
I'm
All
online.
right. Go ahead, Mr. Olson.
Well, thank you all. Appreciate your time today. A very simple movement over from the shed. Eventually, we'll be building an Airbnb on this, and maybe even coming to you again to split the land to possibly build on the top portion of the land as well. But everything right now is moving along quite well. The garage approach, or the garage approach, the driveway approach is already in. I do actually have a LUP in with the county already. I don't know if it's with the total package, but it is there already for the shed, and it will be using there to store other items too in the future. When the Airbnb does get put in, additional linens, toilet paper, so on and so forth, and possibly even converting it into either the garage, a full garage, or an office type place to do administrative work on top of storage. So, just trying to get all this lined up and do it right. We've established the LLC already for the property management for the Airbnb, and we're moving forward with all of that. So everything is going around very well so far, and I think this could be a positive addition to the town of Edgewater. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone have any questions for Mr. Olson? Marshall, do you, Mr. Savitsky?
Nope.
Okay, all right, anyone want to speak in favor of this CUP? Anyone want to speak in opposition of the CUP? Ms. Zilmer?
Linda Zilmer, Edgewater property owner. I don't know if my comments are more fact finding and provide some context. Last summer, I was contacted by people who live in the area they were very worried. There already was an awareness that this property was going to have a tourist rooming house on it. And right now, that area along that side of the lake is experiencing a lot of issues with tourist rooming houses, a lot of ATV, UTV traffic. And when I was contacted about the concerns, I suggested that they contact the zoning department. So whether the zoning department received any contact, it's even starting a year ago about this, I don't know. I was at the Edgewater Town Board meeting, and the applicant was present in person, and he expressed the intentions of dividing this parcel into two, putting up 2 tourist rooming houses, and then using the storage building for supplies, storing supplies for the 2 tourist rooming houses. So I know that that intended use is probably not covered by your zoning ordinance, but as Jay mentioned in the beginning, this is a steeply sloped area. It's got topography issues. It's going to have water runoff issues. And I could foresee, due to the shape of that in the hills, that in order to put 2 dwellings and 1 or 2 sheds on there, the applicant would be maybe coming back to request variances. And in this case, looking forward, I think that would be a self-created hardship. So if this committee feels that moving this storage building onto this property is something you want to approve, then I would ask you to please consider that you also specify that this lot not be further subdivided, and that I have something else on my public comment sheet. Do you have that there? And no future variances, because the applicant is starting with a clean lot. And whether he divides it and sells it or whatever, but again, with the development of this lot, please have conditions that the lot would not further be split, and that any building be done without the need of requesting variances. Thank you.
Thank you.
May I have a moment to address those concerns?
You sure can.
Okay, I appreciate those concerns coming up. However, I've spoke with multiple professionals, to include the PERT test, who does install septic. I've also talked with other engineers that have looked at this. There is a nice little saddle on the top of that topography that can very easily not only maintain a nice cabin. Actually, it would, in my opinion, and other people that professionals I've spoke with, actually their opinion was actually the better place to build a cabin or otherwise on the top of the hill, because there is a very, very nice saddle once you walk up in there that's very flattened out and very easily developed. The reason we're going to start with the lower portion, because it's actually, if you look at it, it's very, very flat and very, very easily constructed. So for purposes of financial reasons, to get the business up and going, that's why we're building on the lower half, the southern lower half there. Less topography to work with against, and just a little bit less expense up front. So I disagree with you respectfully. There is plenty of room, and with my current water flow mitigations that I have already will be putting in place, I think that mitigates those problems. And then you can very easily look at the water flowage at the top up there and make any adjustments on that way as well. Just putting a nice gentle sloping driveway up to the top, and make sure that you do the correct water mitigation plans, and then also erosion mitigation. You shouldn't have any problem building up there and maintaining both lots if I do that in the future. I really think that would it wouldn't be a challenge that any sort of land person or any land developer could overcome very easily. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. All right. Anyone want to speak in opposition? Not. Need a motion to come out of public hearing on CUP number 25-044, please.
I'll make a motion to come out of public hearings.
So I have a motion by Mr. Schuman. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
And a second by Mr. Karanen to come out of public hearing on CUP number 25-044. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries. We are now out of public hearing.
This is the discussion action, the town of Edgewater conditional use permit number 25-044, owner Michael and Carrie Olson. Legal description is previously read into record. The request is for, per Surrey County Code of Ordinances, Appendix D, Section 4.26, Parent 1, which would allow for the placement of an accessory structure on vacant land and be given a 3-year time frame in which a primary dwelling would need to be a primary dwelling land use permit would need to be taken out and built within that permit time frame. As part of my staff report that, please keep in mind the list of potential conditions. And then again, the zoning committee can either choose to add or delete from that list. You'd heard, one of the public comments on this case that, conditions of, not being allowed to grant variances or that no additional lot splits would occur. And while those, might be conditions the committee may want to add, please keep in mind that the owner would need to be agreeable said to conditions, and B, let's say this owner didn't want to move forward with the conditional use permit and instead said, okay, well, I'm just going to build a house and a garage on this property. They could, without zoning committee approval, and then could still submit for a certified survey map and split the lot and take out another land use permit for a house and garage. And again, that would have no zoning committee oversight. So to put conditions on as to state that it can't be split and or should not be granted variances, that's only tied to the fact that they're putting a shed / one-car garage on the property first. Because if they said, well, no, I don't want to do that, then you would have no other conditions to put on there. Does that make sense?
Yes. Everybody understand that?
I was curious in your conditions why you didn't put no habitable area within the accessory building.
Well, technically, that would be as to all other requirements of state, county, federal laws. County ordinances would not allow habitable living area within that structure. So, but also I probably just forgot to put it on there. So.
Oh, and many others.
Yes.
It has been specifically.
Right.
Because so many people overlook that.
Right. No, and if that is a condition that you would like to add on there, I think that is appropriate. So. And Rebecca has her hand raised.
Go ahead, Rebecca.
Thank you. Just a brief follow-up on what Jay indicated. Thank you, Jay, for laying out what the owner could do, by right, if you will. And the only reason this is being proposed of no further land division or no variances is by virtue of being in front of you. I also just want to remind the committee that under 5969 5E, there are very specific conditions upon which you may place conditions on the conditional use permit. Any condition that you place must be supported by substantial evidence. And again, that means facts or information, not merely personal preferences or speculation, directly pertaining to the requirements and conditions an applicant must meet to obtain the conditional use permit, and that reasonable persons would accept in support of a conclusion. So you'd be asking yourself, is there substantial evidence to justify no further land divisions? Is there substantial evidence to justify no future variances? That second one in particular, there is a whole subset of property rights that accompanies the analysis of a variance. So I would highly recommend that you do not condition any approval on the future grant of a variance. And I think it is not appropriate for this committee to even dip their toe into the pool of a self-created condition upon which that property owner may be bound in the future. That's just not within this committee's jurisdiction at this point in time, given what you have in front of you. So again, based on the legal requirements and what the appropriate legal actions for this committee would be, highly recommend that you do not condition it on a future variance. And then with respect to conditioning on no future land divisions, again, I would question whether there is that substantial evidence to support that condition, as Jay indicated. The applicant doesn't necessarily have to agree with that, but If the applicant doesn't agree, the applicant has appeal rights, and then you are having to defend your decision as to whether you have substantial evidence to support that decision. So again, in looking at what the legal requirements are, I do not see there being substantial evidence to support a condition for no future variances or no future land divisions. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you. Chairman, I got a question for Rebecca also. Rebecca, number 3 on possible conditions for approval, can you read that and just, I see where maybe we should have, there's a typo in there, of course. But I see where we also should have added county, also complying with all other county, state, and federal laws.
What page on the packet are you on?
I'm under possible conditions for approval. Choose from list below, add or delete from list below. Number 3, proposed accessory structure must meet all other Sawyer County zoning and conservation requirements. There's a typo there, and then including setbacks and also compliant with all other state and federal laws. Does that catch everything there?
I think it does. And I think that you're reflecting, that there is a typo and that your condition would be that the applicant has to meet all other county ordinances and all other applicable state and federal laws. And the reason that I've advised Jay to include this condition in every single staff report that you see is because there are a plethora of different laws and ordinances and administrative codes that apply to any given parcel. And we would be here all day if we had to go through every single possible law, statute, ordinance, policy that each property owner had to comply with. Furthermore, the county would be paying for all that, and that's not your responsibility either. So this number 3 is it's appropriate to include because it does cover that very broad area of all compliant laws. And that also puts the onus on the owner to make sure they understand what laws they need to comply with.
Thank you, Joe.
My recollection is that we had another application with an accessory structure, and we did not permit him to have an office within that building. Is my memory?
I remember that.
And he mentioned that he was going to have an office and storage area.
Yeah.
So we need to think about consistency.
And on that note, what I would recommend, certainly you can use that prior decision and look back to the rationale of that prior decision. And it may be appropriate for you to condition no office on this application. But again, just remember that there has to be substantial evidence. So you can look to what the substantial evidence was in that prior case, but just make sure that you're applying the facts as they are presented in this case. So again, we look at cases individually by their own facts, and we have to make sure that there is substantial evidence to support whatever decision you come to. So certainly we can, if you'd like to have a discussion about whether it's appropriate to have an office in that space, I would just encourage there to be that discussion on those facts.
Right.
So the shed that is being moved to this property, what is the shed being used for today?
You'd have to ask the applicant that. I'm not aware.
Mike, what is the shed being used on the other property? Is it for storage of equipment? What?
Yeah, so we currently house and store a bunch of our hunting equipment up there, and other items for camping and everything else. And then during the hunting season, it's heated, so we go in there and meet up before the hunt and after the hunt during the hunting season. So at this point, it's been just seasonal, a couple times a year, because I live south of Madison, so it's quite a long trip to get up there. And so, for years we had thought about, monetizing the land that we have up there, but that was in Loch Lomond Beach Club area, so it's not as advantageous to to build an Airbnb there just because of location and the fact that they can't use the facility. So we long term here, we decided, hey, let's look elsewhere. We'll sell this lot, and then we'll use that to finance a new lot, and then move on with our retirement type financial well-being by developing the land and making the Airbnb. So long story long, sorry. You're using it to store equipment at this point as well, and just a nice warm place to go.
And I should just mention as well, because, as part of one of these listed potential conditions, I have no issues with it being, a meetup location to, talk about deer hunting stories or to warm up or anything like that. But any type of habitable and overnight sleeping would not be allowed. And that would be as a condition as part of other Sawyer County zoning conservation requirements. So please keep that in mind.
Absolutely. And it's the same way in Barron County. There's no difference between this county and that as far as that rule goes. And we haven't, we bring in a fifth wheel trailer and set it. If we're going to stay there, there's no reason to stay in a shed with a bunch of, shelves. You'd have to, I guess you could roll out some sleeping bags and sleep on the floor, but why would you do that when you have the comfort of a fifth wheeler?
People do. So that's why I'm just making that mention.
Oh, I don't, but yes, I acknowledge that.
All right, committee. Oh. Ms. Wilson.
So I would make a motion to approve the CUP 25-044 with the addition of a condition that there be no habitable space within the shed, and the shed be kept as a shed or storage only. With the findings of fact, promote the public health, safety, and convenience of general welfare, encourage planned and orderly land development, protect property values and property tax base, and provide healthy surroundings for family.
Okay. We have a second?
I will second that.
Okay, we have a motion by Ms. Wilson and a second.
As part of discussion, I just want to make sure that Mr. Olson is aware. Are you agreeable to those said conditions? 1 through 4 is listed in my staff report, which I can put up on the board, and then an added condition that storage shed to be used as storage shed only.
Yeah, that's no problem at all.
Okay. All right, we have a motion and a second on the floor to approve CUP number 25-004. Any more discussion? None? Roll call, Kathy, please.
Oh.
Go ahead. Sorry, mister.
Findings of fact, you said were 1 through 4? Is that?
No, I said 1, 2, 3,
And 13.
and
13. Okay, yeah, I just wanted to make sure I heard that right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Got it figured out now?
Yes, sir.
Findings of fact, 1, 2, 3, and 13.
Correct. That's what I have.
Okay.
And-
roll call.
And all the conditions, correct? Okay, thank you, along with the other. All right. Tweet Schuman,
Yes.
Ron Buckholz, Steve Carrianen,
Yes.
Marshall Savitsky,
Yes.
Kay Wilson.
yes.
All in favor. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, number 5, Jay.
Yep, we are back in session. This is the final plat review. This is a public hearing in the town of Hayward for the final county subdivision plat of the Preserve Phase 5. Owner is the Preserve at MBF LLC, care of Jeremy Hill. Phase 5 is for a 21 lot proposal, including 4 outlots. The main lots will all be larger than 5 acres. This requires zoning committee acceptance, conditional acceptance, or rejection. As part of my staff report, Final plats are to be submitted to zoning committee within 180 days of the preliminary plat acceptance. The preliminary approval was granted on May 16th of 2025. The zoning committee was provided with the final plat approval as listed and located here within the packet. As the kind of review of all these, you know, we've seen 4 additional phases. Now at this point, this is phase 5. This is at least for right now, the anticipated last phase. All the roads as part of the phase developments are to remain as private roads. Those discussions occurred both at the Town of Round Lake and Town of Hayward boards respectively. This one specifically for phase 5 is located in the Town of Hayward. Where zoning committee finds that additional information is relative to a problem or concern proposed by the proposed division, the zoning committee shall have the authority to request such additional information from the subdividers. That additional information could include certified soil tests, stormwater management plans, erosion control standards of NR 151 or other regional flood elevations. The subdivider has completed a wetland delineation of the entire property. The stormwater management plan is subject to be submitted to the DNR if it already hasn't. I believe they're in the review process right now of that, the last pending stormwater approvals. It is not anticipated that the full stormwater approval for this phase will be approved at the time of the zoning committee hearing. With that being said, the final plat would not be able to be recorded within the Register of Deeds until Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources approves the stormwater plan. The Wisconsin Department of Transportation has already approved a new highway access road in conjunction with all the phases of the preserve. The Sawyer County Zoning Committee has conditionally approved the preliminary plat approval pending the stormwater management plan. Again, that plan is anticipated to be submitted to the DNR very soon if it has not already been submitted. As well as to these other phases that we've done in the past, it would be most appropriate that if the zoning committee was to approve, you would conditionally approve the final plat pending the stormwater management approval. And then myself, the zoning administrator, would not sign off on the plat and record it until that plan has been submitted. Additional conditions as stated from the preliminary approval was also to have the covenants recorded on the property, which are attached and have been recorded to the other phases that have already been recorded, and that a wetland delineation is done, and that has been completed and is on file with the Zoning and Conservation Department. I myself, the zoning administrator, has deemed that the application is complete. By action of the town board, motion was approved. John Fromel, chair, Carol Williamson, supervisor, Stacy Hessel, supervisor, Brenda Detloff, supervisor, and Travis Butterfield abstained from this one. Same covenants as previous plats, signed Brenham Town Clerk. There were additional notification letters sent out as part of the final approval process. We did not receive any additional comments back on the final. We did receive one comment in objection as part of the prelim, and that was from a Brian Chatine. I don't know if you want me to read that back into record or have any additional questions on it, but it's fairly long, but I mean, it's not that difficult. I, Brian Chatine, formally expressed my opposition to the proposed development of Phase 5. While I recognize that responsible growth is important and that expanding the tax base supports both Hayward and Sawyer County, I also believe that development must be guided by a commitment to preserving the character, values, and natural assets of our community. Adaptation is necessary, yes, but so is protection of what makes this place special. My family has lived in Hayward for over a century. We have stayed here and invested our lives here because of the rural way of life, the quiet woods, the wildlife, and the opportunity to hunt, to fish, and the deep sense of community that comes with people who love the land. Developments like Phase 5 directly threaten these values. I ask, what impacts does this have on families like mine, people who have made this place our home, not because we wanted to change it, because we wanted to be a part of it. Has the county conducted any studies or gathered any public input on how developments of this scale affect longstanding residents? Is there data to show whether this kind of expansion drives away the very people who have already invested time, energy, and financial resources into building the local tax base and the community fabric? It is heartbreaking to imagine houses being built right up against the woods where we've hunted for generations. This kind of development not only fragments wildlife habitat, but fragments communities' identities. Will more traffic lights and noise drive out deer, bear, grouse, and ultimately the people who came here to live among them? If this proposal moves forward, I too Will I too be granted the same development rights in the future? Would I be allowed to subdivide and sell off my land in the same way? Or are these allowances reserved for those with deeper pocketbooks or larger developers? These are critical questions for the future of Hayward and Sawyer County. I strongly urge the department or the committee to not approve phase 5 of this development. Instead, protect the integrity of our lands. Let's ensure that our policies reflect not only economic goals, but the values of those that already live, work, and recreate here. Thank you for your service and careful consideration. Sincerely, Brian Chatine.
Okay, thanks, Jay. All right, I need a motion to go into public hearing on the preserve phase 5 subdivision plat.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, I'll make that motion to go into public hearing.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Schuman. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
And a second by Ms. Wilson to go into public hearing on the preserve phase 5. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carried. We are now in public hearing. Jeremy, want to talk to us?
Good morning, Jeremy Hill, 16271 West Miller Road, Town of Lenroot. Thank you guys for taking the time to hear this phase and all the phases prior to this. I know it's been a long year and 7 or 8 months, but I really appreciate all the help through this process you guys have been in the towns as well. So this is our final phase that's currently planned. We're doing the same 5-acre lot minimum, same staying forestry zoning, same covenants as the prior plats. The final plat has been submitted to zoning. Our surveyor, Todd Gould, is online as well. The stormwater permit has been approved for this phase already. So of our 5 plats, the stormwater permits have been approved for all but phase 3. So this phase 5 has been approved. Jay's got copies of that. The phase 3 one we're working through right now and expect that in about a month. But otherwise, all the other phases have been covered by stormwater. So, and to address Mr. Chatine's comments, he's got 73 acres south of this phase, backs up to some county forest. I think his primary concern is he's got a large elevated tree stand about 10 feet off of my south property line that he's probably hunted for years that is real close. So I'm sure he's got plenty of acreage where hopefully he can move that over, and he's still got 73 acres he can hunt on that backs up to county land. So he should be able to have no problem hunting there.
Okay, all right, any questions? Mr. Savitsky, got any questions?
No, I don't.
Thank you. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, anyone want to speak in favor of this phase 5? Anyone want to speak? Go ahead.
Linda Zilmer, Edgewater property owner, neither in favor or opposed, and thank you for listening to my opinions today, which most of them that's what they were. And I appreciated legal's comments explaining about the conditions that I had requested on other things. I just want to point out that as Sawyer County continues to approve the fragmentation of forest lands for residential development, then that is why then there's a push to conserve forest and agricultural lands. So those folks who are on the Land and Water Conservation or on Land, Water and Forest Resource Management Committee, for 2 months, there have been presentations seeking the county's support of another large conservation easement. There are already large conservation easements that have been granted in Sawyer County that have been bought with millions of dollars of public dollars. And so if counties maybe were a little more prudent about allowing this kind of residential development in forest land, then we wouldn't also have to pay for conservation easement, because when forest lands like this are divided up, whether it's a neighbor for hunting or other reasons, they're too small, and then they create barriers for harvesting timber, for hunting, and maintaining wildlife habitat. So just wanted to make an opinion comment that I'm concerned that something like this is leading to other unplanned developments. This one's going through all the right processes, but I heard about in the town of Coudray, there's a 40 that's been divided up into 5-acre lots. When I come here on 27, there's a cornfield I go by, but in the Mennonite farm area where they're dividing up land into 5-acre lots. And so if Sawyer County is known as a county that's just going to approve 5-acre residential development, that land's going to disappear and there'll be more pushes for conservation easements. Thank you.
Thank you. Right, anyone else want to speak in favor? Anyone want to speak in opposition of this phase 5? Not, need a motion to come out of public hearing on the preserve phase 5, please.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
We have a motion by Mr. Kiriainen and a second by Mr. Schuman to come out of public hearing on the preserve phase 5. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carried. We are now out of public hearing.
This is the discussion action in the town of Hayward, final county subdivision plat for phase 5. This is to include 21 lot proposal. All lots as part of development would be in excess of 5 acres. This also includes 4 outlots, which are shown as kind of the roadways that lead into these lots. As to the zoning committee, you have the ability to approve, conditionally approve, or reject the county subdivision plat. We did hear from the applicant that the stormwater management plan for phase 5 has already been approved. I will go back and kind of double check that before I sign off on this, but I don't believe you would need to list that as a separate condition. But as part of the other phases that you have previously approved, you did also instill a condition that the same covenants that are previously recorded be also recorded on these lots. That is all.
Okay. All right, committee, turn it over to you.
I will make a motion to conditionally approve pending receipt of final stormwater management plan and the additional conditions as stated from the preliminary approval for including covenants recorded on the property and wetland delineation on file with zoning and conservation department.
Okay, we have a second?
Yes, sir. Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Kiriainen, second by Mr. Schuman to approve the preserve phase 5. Any more discussion? Roll call, Kathy.
Marshall Savitsky,
Yes.
Ron Buckholz,
Yes.
Kay Wilson,
Yes.
Tweed Schuman,
Yes.
Steve Kirianen,
Yes.
all in favor? Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Hill, do you have the final map at this point? Is that in my office? Phase 5? Okay. Before you leave today, can you come by the office? Thank you. Moving on to new business. I've put together a citation ordinance amendment. Ultimately, the last time the citation ordinance was amended or updated was back in 2013. The majority of the changes as listed as part of the red line, which is included as part of the agenda here today, are to update the ordinance sections. Over time, ordinance sections change. We've now gone to the county code of ordinances opposed to those general individual ordinances. So a lot of it was cleanup as far as referencing the new ordinances, but also to increase citation amounts. We've talked a lot about, enforcement over the last few years, and, we do have now additional, zoning staff member in our office, which has been working out, wonderfully. But, some of the aspects of, getting people in compliance and, enforcing ordinances is coming with, some type of, do the right thing, or you could be cited X amount of dollars. Our current citations are fairly low in the amount of the citation cost. So I've, at this point, have shown an increase of $100 per all deposit amounts on potential citations. As of this year, we have issued 11 citations. A couple of those were withdrawn in that the applicant, was able to make the necessary corrections in a timely manner, in which, as per our corporation counsel, had also advised to remove the citation amount. Now, the deposit amounts that you see is not the full amount they would end up paying towards the court. There are other additional forfeitures, fines, and surcharges that actually add to this amount. So for example, I believe there's one on here, like shoreline clearing violation. I'm trying to find it. One of the shoreline clearing amounts, it has, a deposit amount of like $400, but in the end, with the additional, shoreline clearing right now is $500 is the deposit amount, but it actually adds another like $262 with the court cost. So it's actually $767.50 is the amount that they're actually cited. But again, this amendment that I'm seeking here is to increase those amounts by additional $100 across the board. As part of any other ordinance amendment, and this be it a zoning citation ordinance, the discussion action portion that I have today would be to send out to towns for their review. It would come back then to zoning committee, hopefully by next month already, in which we would hold an official public hearing. That public hearing portion, then zoning committee could either move it on to county board or make additional corrections from there.
Gabe, when you're talking about shoreline, what are we talking about? What do they have to do or not do?
Yeah, so shoreline vegetation requirements is listed as section 11.7 of the citation ordinance would be for those that, violate the removal of shoreline vegetation outside their allotted viewing and access corridor. So our viewing and access corridor would be measured as 35% of your frontage. And within that 35%, you're allowed to create a viewing access corridor, which trees and vegetation less than 6 inches in diameter can be removed. So people that are cutting larger trees down on the shoreline are ultimately issued citations for removal of those trees. So right now, that citation amount is $767.50. And with the additional increase from $500 on the deposit amount to $600 on the deposit amount, you would expect that would jump up about another $130 in total fees. You're closer to $900 for that type of violation. And yes, the one that's on Placid Lake, they did receive a citation, and they had some discrepancies of what they told their tree removal guy to remove versus what the tree removal guy actually did. But in the end, I was not willing to, cut any type of deals for him. He received the full citation amount and will be planting additional vegetation. A lot of these citations, it's not just pay the citation amount and get to do what the violation was. It's pay the citation amount and a remedy, whether it's planting of additional trees, whether it's getting additional permits in place, whether it's removal of structures. So those recommendations as part of our requirements are then sent to the judge for final determinations.
Does the zoning department follow up on replanting then within a year,
Yeah.
I would assume?
Yep.
Jay, did you get input from any of the towns as of yet to make some of these changes, and or Rebecca?
I have not, no. This was one of my, identified ordinance amendment updates that I wanted to do through the 2025 calendar year. Again, we've, have heard that there's, a lack of enforcement with Sawyer County zoning. I believe we have started to turn that page, and we are, certainly cracking more down on enforcement when we can with the additional staff member that we have. But with, having that kind of mentality that, zoning is actually doing more enforcement now, we need a slightly larger iron fist to have that type of mentality. And that first step is to increase our very outdated citation amounts.
Is the last 2013, is that the last time it was updated?
Correct.
Well, is $100
And that's certainly something we can discuss. I mean, we could go 150, we could do 200 across the board. There's, and I guess that would be a Rebecca question. I don't know, if there's a max amount that any of these citations can be. And yeah, I kind of just dropped this on Rebecca as of Tuesday of this week and said, oh, hey, by the way, I'm doing a citation ordinance amendment. Step one was to, correct the section ordinances in which these citation references. Step two was to increase the fee amounts. I wasn't looking at, manipulating other portions of that citation ordinance. It's really just two different things that are being looked at, updating the code sections, increasing the amounts. If we want to discuss, increasing the amounts even more, then yes, we certainly can have that discussion.
Well, I think that sometimes people say, oh, that's just the cost of doing business. It's only $150. Well, I think it needs to be significant.
Yeah, I would agree, to that extent. I didn't want to, double these amounts. Some of these citations are $200 and go from $200 to $400. I mean, maybe that is appropriate though, too. And I can, certainly look at, other counties that are in the nearby area, adjacent counties and see what they have for citation amounts and try to mirror those, or even, be higher, in fees than those. If you want to go that route, we can certainly, postpone any action and I can, bring back that information. I do want to, eventually get this buttoned up through the next couple months, but, yeah, I mean, if that's something that we want to do, we certainly can.
I certainly like, what you want to do here. And again, you don't see this as a revenue stream. You see this as an enticement to get people to do the right thing more than anything else.
Correct. We and the current kind of process to citations, the money and fees collected don't even come back directly to the zoning department. They go into the general fund through the.
So it doesn't show on your budget.
Right.
Okay. Mhm.
Linda, let you speak, go ahead.
Linda Zilmer, Edgewater property owner, and I hope that it sounds like the committee is willing to consider postponing action on this. On Friday, August 1st, I emailed all the zoning committee members and the new administrator an email questioning this particular agenda item. I believe that fees have been updated since 2013, and this document that got updated, Ordinance 89-1, is no longer a relevant document. And in my email, I sent a screenshot and I referenced the section of Muni Code that includes these fees. And it is, and I can't make this big enough on my phone.
Why would you not send the zoning administrator your comments as well if it's
Pardon?
related? Why would you not send the zoning administrator your comments as well if you're acting on something that's part of the zoning committee's agenda?
Because sometimes when I do that, then I get accused of things. And so I felt that if the committee of jurisdiction was going to look at this, then that with the timely notice of August 1st, they could have done the background work with you.
As a
And
department head, I would appreciate that
I
if
will
you're
do
going to
that then
send
from that.
information to the zoning committee and to the county administrator, that you also send it to the department head. Thank you.
so, but I thought possibly between the county administrator and the zoning committee, they could work with the department head and this personal stuff wouldn't get into it. But in the Muni Code of Ordinances, under Chapter 1, Section 1-2-9, Schedule of Deposits, these deposits have been in there. And we've gone through probably two previous county administrators who have updated schedules of permit fees as well as citations. And with the budget and with the opportunity to spend another month to look at this, I would appreciate if everyone at the county level worked together to find out what appropriate section of Muni Code these schedules should go into, and really when they were last updated, because this, I don't believe, is the document, and and this is an opportunity to get in line with your code of ordinances. Thank you.
Thank you. So I agree with Jay that we should maybe, and Kay, that we should maybe take a look and up these a little bit more. But, that's up to you guys too. So, how do you want to go about doing it? You want to bring this back or?
Chairman, I agree with Jay's comment that we should look at other counties and
Yeah.
on what they charge. It'd be nice to be consistent in that area.
Yeah, I mean, given the discussion that we've had here today, I would like to bring back additional information, make sure that we are appropriately linking this with where it is, described and found within Muni Code, unless this is as a separate, appendix as part of Muni Code, but also to give you additional information as to adjacent county citation amounts. So at this point, I would recommend that you would postpone action until next month, until I'm able to provide that information.
Okay.
That would be my motion, Mr. Chairman, that we postpone for 1 month and bring it back at our next zoning committee meeting for
Okay.
discussion and approval.
All right.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and second by A to postpone the citation ordinance amendment until bring it back to the next zoning committee meeting in next month. And I want to just, on what Jay commented about to Ms. Zilmer, I believe anything that comes to the zoning committee members and to Mr. Markgren as administrator about zoning should also go to the zoning administrator, Mr. Kozlowski. Because I've mentioned things to Jay before on emails and he said he's never received any of them. So he doesn't know how to answer some of the time. And I understand that. So with that being said, I would like that to happen. Mike, Jay, that whatever emails come from wherever, doesn't matter who it is, to the zoning committee, that they go also to Jay and you. So, all right.
Moving on is our next, do we vote on that? We have a motion in a second.
Oh, yeah. Okay,
To postpone.
okay, no more discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
Then other items of new business, strategic plan, areas of focus. I'll turn it over to Mike.
So you have in front of you, thank you, the strategic plan for zoning committee. All month, at every committee meeting, we have been giving committee members an opportunity to fill out these forms with their top 3 areas of focus for their departments of jurisdiction. So this is the final meeting of the month for zoning committee. So I would appreciate if you could give your best effort to get these to me by the board meeting next Thursday. And then this data is going to form a baseline for the work on the strategic plan, and it'll be compiled and brought to the full county board and others for some input. So that is number 1, if you could do that. And then moving on to the budget update. The other thing we've done at every committee meeting this month is give department heads an opportunity to present their budget request to their committee of jurisdiction. So for zoning, it's actually down a little bit from 2025 because we had a change in personnel, which caused a change in health insurance plan. But I'll turn it back over to Mr. Kozlowski if you'd like to point anything else out or.
Yeah, as far as the, true budget line items, there really isn't any, substantial, increases. I actually, for the revenue side, trying to anticipate what we're expecting for revenue has a lot to deal with where the economy sits, right? The economy is doing well. People are building more, whether it's additions or alterations, new dwellings. And with those come additional land use permit fees. Over the last 5 years, we have exceeded our budget because building has been so engaged as of late. So I've shown an increase as what we are anticipating for revenue in 2026. Hopefully we would still hit that number we have for the last 5 years. It doesn't seem to be any signs of slowing down anytime soon. So I've increased that revenue amount just to kind of actively try to reflect that a little bit more. As far as other, expense items, those all, remain relatively the same. I did, make some, small adjustments as to, printing costs, because printing costs are up. We are generating more, printing aspects in the form of paper. Our public hearing costs have gone up. We are seeing more public hearings. And with those public hearing costs come more of the aspects for publication. That's another one that I, very cheap. Right. And the cost to publish stuff in the paper hasn't gone down either. As of right now, for those that aren't aware, we do not have an official newspaper of record. So we have been submitting to both newspapers, which we don't need to do, but we've been continuously doing that so that someone in, say, Winter is also receiving notification of something occurring there, where maybe they get the Gazette, but they don't get the Sawyer County Record. So we've had that as a longstanding practice. I'm not looking at pushing at changing that, but just know that those publication costs do end up, being pretty expensive for us in the long run. So again, as far as true budget line items, not much change at all. The CIP requests, though, that is something, that I've identified a few things. Those that are, as part of the Land, Water, Forest Resource Committee, you've already heard of some of the conservation aspect CIP requests. We talk about a potential groundwater monitoring study that we're looking at conducting with the Natural Historical Society, or the National, I always forget the acronym for this. It's the Geological State Survey. They had given a presentation to Land, Water, Forest Resource Committee. They're currently working with the LCO tribe to do a groundwater mapping study. And it lines up that if we link into this project right now, we could save, quite a bit of money. So that request is part of, what is it, 105 over 2 years, 106 over 2 years?
I think it's 106, 53,000.
Yeah, 106,000 over the next 2 years. So that was identified as a CIP request. We are moving forward with the Fish Trap Dam replacement project that is anticipated to be conducted later in the year of 2026. So that has been identified as a CIP request for the last several years. We did receive the municipal dam grant, so 50% of those costs, or 50% of that cost, will be included as part of a grant reimbursement. Dams in general, which I also discussed with the Land, Water, Forest Resource Committee, dams cost the county quite a bit of money annually each year, whether it's in the form of inspections that are conducted by an outside engineer firm, whether it's in the form of other maintenance as far as gate operations. And as of earlier in 2025, we were kind of hit with a Washburn County dam, which we are joint owners of, and additional repairs needed on the Birch Lake Dam. So those have all been identified as CIP requests moving forward. The other one that specifically I added into zoning, and we talked a little bit about this previously, is a potential zoning ordinance rewrite as a full rewrite of the zoning ordinance. There are multiple identified inconsistencies within our current ordinance. This was discussed with previous administrator Andy Alvarado, where one of his parting remarks was that, yeah, your zoning ordinance needs some work. Legal counsel has continuously stated that it's unfortunate that you inherited a lot of the errors that are occurring within the ordinance right now. I've tried over the course of my department head responsibilities to make these corrections, and every time that I try to make what I seemingly think is an easy correction, it becomes a much more anticipated, complicated process, where I don't know if there's a stigma behind that it's Jay that's making these changes and that towns don't want to approve them. So I'm anticipating that we would look at an outside firm or outside consult to look at a full rewrite of our zoning ordinances to make sure that they are up to date with current statutes, as well as non-conflicting aspects, as also to the extent what we want to see for the future of Sawyer County. And this kind of aligns with strategic plans, where if there is something to make fixes to a housing crisis, a lot of those elements would start with a zoning ordinance, where I myself can't just go in and say, hey, we should allow tiny houses, or we should allow certain areas identified for park model living complexes, or identified apartment areas, or multi-dwelling development. Every time that I would try to do something like that, I don't think it's going to be well received. But if there's an outside firm that can take the ideas of elected officials take ideas of the general public and come up with a new working ordinance for Sawyer County, I think it would be beneficial, but ultimately that comes at a cost. Bayfield County had recently gone through this process last year, and I believe it cost them close to 85, if not over $100,000. So I have that indicated as part of a CIP request. And we can further have those discussions as well. I'm sure that I'll be having those discussions with the County Administrator Markham moving forward as well.
You put anything into your budget to indicate?
Not as part of the true budget line, but it's a capital improvement project because it is a larger amount. Yeah.
I've got to believe every county has the same problems. And just thinking out loud as you're talking, would the Wisconsin Counties Association have any thoughts maybe around that? And also, is there a role for AI to help sort things out from a legal standpoint? You would think there's a potential, if not now, maybe someday in the near future.
You know, as far as your first question to, WCA aspects, I would default that to Rebecca because she actually works quite a bit with WCA. Rebecca, do you have any information? I mean, are there any resources at Wisconsin Counties Association for zoning ordinance rewrites?
Yes, absolutely. And I actually had my hand raised on this item. I didn't, I'm obviously out of my lane in speaking to budget issues, but when we're talking about the comprehensive rewrites, yes, WCA does have certain resources. There is no model ordinance, model zoning ordinance that the county could look to for the very simple reason that yes, the issues you see are similar throughout counties, but every county is different. And I think it would be more labor intensive to start with a form ordinance and then make it unique. There are wonderful firms out there that do just this. They will come in and meet with a county and put together almost an analysis of what your existing code is, kind of like an audit, and then work with you at each step of the way in preparing a new revised zoning ordinance. It is a huge undertaking, but there are many benefits. From a legal standpoint, one of the benefits is that Chapter 5969 of the statutes allows for towns to then opt out of county zoning in the circumstance of a comprehensive rewrite. So if there are towns in Sawyer County who are so displeased with county zoning, when you do a comprehensive rewrite, they do not have to opt back in. And so that's an opportunity for towns really, if they want to have greater control over zoning matters, they can do so at that point in time. So it's great from my perspective to hear that the county is looking at this. Jay, I will connect you with Sarah Dietrich Kasdorf, I think she's the go-to on zoning matters. And yeah, we're working with a few counties right now who are going through that process as kind of if a legal question comes up, we'll jump in and advise. So it's a hard process, but it's a very good one. And it's exciting to hear that, Sawyer County is looking at that type of project.
Yeah, I'm almost coming at from another mentality too, is, we'd heard some discussions, a couple months ago that, and with the changes in statute that, there is a date, and I don't remember the date, as to when towns can opt out of county zoning. I'm almost teeing this up in that, well, towns, let's come back to the drawing board and, tell me what's wrong, with the current zoning ordinance. And let's do this comprehensive rewrite in a way that we all want to stay together and not necessarily opt out. Yes, this is a chance that if you don't like what's being proposed, you can, but, there are already towns that, I've heard that are looking into wanting to opt out with that new statute that was, or act that was signed into law. But this is another mechanism let's rewrite this together to stay in.
Right.
Yeah, and on that point, that's a really good point, Jay. And the statute that Jay is referencing is a new statute that allows for a town to withdraw from county zoning at any time. Under previous law, only Waukesha County or Dane County could withdraw if there wasn't a comprehensive rewrite occurring. Now, any town, again, following this very specific statute and certain timeframes, now any town in a county who's under county zoning can withdraw. What you're undergoing with that comprehensive rewrite is the exception of when any town not in Dane or Waukesha could withdraw. So what that means for Sawyer County is that if Sawyer County towns wanted to withdraw, they could withdraw sooner because that new statute has, I want to say it's about a 5-year time frame. So if the county didn't go through that comprehensive rewrite, Sawyer County towns would have to wait approximately 5 years to withdraw. Whereas if you do the comprehensive rewrite, towns, I mean, it's opting out, but really technically it's never opting in to the new code. And Jay's certainly right. It's a great opportunity to have that collaboration with towns and for towns to make well-educated decisions as to whether they want to, what path they want to continue on.
Well, to one of my wishes of many is that we can get a good working relationship with the townships, the people of Sawyer County, and get off all this argument stuff, this and that. If that rewrite would help that, well, let's look into it. But right now, I thought when we did that set up with the town chairmans, most of this was supposed to been discussed, but I think to me it went to a different direction. I thought we were to address zoning issues. That didn't happen. There's just certain ones. My thought was we were going to take a look at the whole zoning thing and change with the town's opinion what they wanted in there. Well, that to me, that didn't happen. I mean, I sat in on that. Most of them, I missed one, I guess, but the towns and me being a town chairman, I think we all need to work together to make this thing work. So whatever we have to do to get back to where we need to be, let's take a look at it. So that's all I got to say.
Are we talking about budget too? So knowing that Rebecca is here every week, is there a line item for legal within zoning, or does that go directly to the county for?
Right now, legal is billed within a county budget figure, countywide. It's something that we've somewhat discussed breaking it out, but we have not at this point.
Wasn't a line item, and I wanted to make sure we didn't miss that. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Anything else? I want to thank everybody. Good meeting. We are adjourned. Thank you, Marshall. Thank you, Rebecca.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great week.